Hello everyone, welcome to our first lecture of practical programming by Netflix. Let's move on to the outline of our course. So first we will go through the course structure and learning objectives, and then we will learn about what is programming. And moving on, we will have an introduction of C++, that is our starting programming language for this course. And then we will have a guide a short guide about installing the IDE. IDE is basically short for Integrated Development Environment. And compiler, we will have a talk on it later on when we will install them. And then we will have our first programming lesson of C++ that will include the thorough lecture on build the built-in data types in C++ and also the arithmetic operators. So moving on, the objectives of this course are to familiarize yourself with the concept of programming and how can we use this art of programming the in different real life applications. And we will in doing so we will try our best to grasp the more important concepts of programming in C++, basic programming as well as object oriented programming, which is also sometimes called as OOP. We will first use C++ as a starting language, and then we will go on to Python. I am going to tell you in a bit why are we using C++ as a starting language and not any other language. So, what is programming? Programming is a technological process for telling a computer which task to perform in order to solve a problem or to gain any desired outcome. In other words, it is a conversation with the computer. So, programming is basically a tool to have a dialogue, to have a tool to command our computer. We cannot directly command our computer because the computer only understands the language of zeros and ones, and we are and humans cannot. Normal humans cannot understand the language of zeros and ones. So that is why we use programming languages that act as a bridge between the humans and the machines, the computers. So the course is structured such that we will first learn about the concepts of programming using C++, and then we will and then we will start learning programming from basic to object-oriented programming in C++. And when we will have a complete grip over C++, we will move to Python, and then we will have a complete and then we will have a complete grip in of programming in Python as well. So programming languages. So, what are programming languages? As we have discussed, that programming is a way of commanding the computer, a way of conversing with the computer. For this purpose, we use programming languages. You may have heard about Python, Java, and JavaScript before. These are very famous programming languages that are used these days. These programming languages are very user friendly and high level, and they provide many built-in data types, functions, and also a large number of libraries that enable programmers to use them easily, and that makes a lot of complex tasks easy to perform. However, some languages like C, Rust, and C++ are not that high level. They are relatively low level programming languages. They do not have as much built-in features as the high level languages like Python and Java. But they are programming languages, and but they are more efficient than the high level programming languages. We will learn later why. And if we go further down, we will have assembly language. So moving on. So I said that I will tell why we are using C++ as our starting language. So C++ is a language that provides the opportunity to practice concepts of low level programming as well as the concepts of high level programming. Low level programming concepts such as memory management and pointers and things like these are not possible in high level programming languages, but C++ support these features. And also high level programming concepts like OOP, which is basically OOP, and C++ also has a library STL that provides a large number of algorithms and built-in functions and data types that makes high-level programming language feasible in C++. So C++ is therefore sometimes called as mid-level programming languages because we can practice both high-level programming as well as low-level programming in C++. So, introduction to C++. C++ was developed in 1970s, and you can guess by the name that it was an extension of C with some plus plus with some plus features. So initially, it was called C with classes. We will learn about classes later on. So this feature of classes enabled C plus plus, which was the extension of its predecessor C. It enables C++ to have to support object-oriented programming. This encapsulation, abstraction, and inheritance polymorphism, these are the four pillars of object-oriented programming that we will learn later on in detail. And also some low-level programming capabilities such as memory management and is also possible in C++. And above and moreover, C++ is also relatively very fast and efficient than other high-level programming languages. So, uh, so let's move on to the next part, that is installing the IDE, Integrated Development Environment. IDE is basically a software application that provides us an environment to write our code. Modern IDEs have many extensions and tools that enable us to write our code more efficiently, and also enable us to debug the code more easily. We will install some extensions in our IDE as well. The IDE we are using is Visual Studio Code. It is a very famous IDE used all over the globe, professionally as well as academically, in universities for CS courses. And the next and for compilation, so the code we write in our in any language, in any programming language, cannot be executed directly by the machine or by the computer. It needs to be translated into machine code, and the machine code then can be directly executed by the computer. So for this purpose we are using MinGW as our compiler. And let's move on to installing these two. So just open your browser and type VS Code download. Click the first option that you see, and now according to your OS operating system, choose the setup. I am using Windows x64, so I am going with this. And let it will ask you to whether it may be dangerous, or but you will click keep. It is not dangerous, I can assure you that. Now let me open the downloads. So it will take some time depending on the internet speed that you have. Once it's downloaded, simply click it and wait for the setup to be opened. So yes, click I accept and then next. And it the default path is as follows. It is usually installed in C, and we will move on next. And yes, simply next. So from this, I usually prefer a desktop icon, so I will check this as well. Add open with code. It would be easy for you to check all these because it provides a lot of options. For example, when you click a folder, it will show whether to open this in Visual Studio Code or not. So yes, checking all these would be easy for you later on. And now click install. It will take some time. So I am unchecking this. It was just asking me whether to launch it, because I want to show you to open it from the desktop. Now simply click Visual Studio Code. We are going to install some extensions that will make your life easy. As I have downloaded it again after deleting, so it was showing me some history here. But let's here you can see extensions. Go to this. Okay, so although I have installed it just now, but it has retained the history and it has installed the extensions again that I had installed previously. So some extensions that I need you to install are, the first one is Code Runner. Okay, so it is already installed in my computer, but let me just uninstall it and install it again for you. So yes, it's now uninstalled. So after installing CodeRunner, you need to do a little thing. Let me show you. So you will go to Preferences and then Settings, and here in the search bar you will search CodeRunner, and now you will scroll down and you will see this run in terminal. This is checked here, but this will not be checked in your PC after installing it for the first time, so you just need to check it. Also it would be easier for you if you also check these two. Save all file before run. In If you don't check this, you need to save file again and again using control plus S, but if you check this, it will be done automatically. So now you are, so, and some other extensions like, uh, let me show you, like this C and C++ and C++ extension pack and C and C++ themes. These are also very handy to use. And yeah, that's it for VS Code. Now let's go and install the compiler. So just type min.gw and min.gw download will appear. You need to click the first link on the top, and here just click download, and it is preparing. Keep. Okay, the setup has now been downloaded, and now you need to click, so yes, click install and continue. The installation of compiler will take a bit more time than the installation of VS Code. So yes, when this is 100% complete, you need to click continue. Here I need you to check all these box, and once we have checked all, we will click apply changes, and then it will ask again, and we will say yes, apply. Okay, now this will take a bit of time. Okay, so now that it's complete, we will just close it. And now in the search bar of your Windows, you need to type environment, and you need to click this edit the system environment variables. Here click this environment variables. Now choose this path, and here you need to browse and go to this PC, go to C, go to MinGW, and choose bin. And yes, that's it. Okay, and then click OK. And now you are all set to use your compiler. Let us have our first prog- program. Let me write our first program. So I am opening, I have made a folder called practical programming here, and now I will open it with code. Here I will make a new file, and I will give it a name. I am giving this hello world because the first program a programmer write is hello world. Okay, so now I'm going to write our first program. So now I will simply run this program, and let's see. Yeah, you can see that it has outputted hello world. So let's go and analyze our first program. I have made a slide for that. So you can see that I have, when I type the name, I ended it with an extension CBP. So the extension for files containing C++ code is CPP. That is a standard and a must. And so the first line include IOSIM. What is this? So in C++, we have a lot of libraries that provide us functionalities to use in our code. For example, this functionality IOStream provide us input output stream functionalities. At the moment, you don't need to know what are streams, but you need to know that in C++, we use libraries for built-in functionalities for our code to run. For example, in this program, we are outputting hello world, and to output this hello world, we need in IOStream library where the function cout is defined. Okay. So moving on, the second line using namespace std. So namespace std, this line tells the compiler to use standard namespace. So namespaces are a mechanism that are used to avoid naming conflicts in large programs. You don't need to know the mechanism for namespaces. You just need to know that this line enables the compiler to avoid naming conflicts in your program and also ease the process of programming. So, and here we can see int main. So we will learn later on about this int, and but at the moment you need to know that int main, every C++ program has a function. This is a function which encloses some code in these curly brackets, and every C++ program has a main function. It is must for C++, and it has a return type of integer, and we will later on when we will study about functions, you will know what is the return type of a function. So at this moment you need to know that every C++ program has a main function, and also you can see that if we have placed semicolons at the end of lines. So in C++, semicolon is a statement terminator. We use it at the end of every line and with some exception. For example, we haven't used it at the end of this line and this line because it is just a syntax. It is just the way it is. But semicolon is very important. If you miss a semicolon where it was meant to be and you did not wrote it there and it was misplaced, or you forget that, your code will not compile, it will not run at any cost. However, these days modern compilers tell you that you are missing a semicolon in line number this that, and you can then debug your code. So if you have noticed that when I ran my code, there was a file hello world c plus dot c plus plus that I have created. But there was another file created with an extension .exe. So what is this file? This is basically an executable file. Every C++ program, when it is compiled, it has a executable file. So what is an executable file? Uh, the source codes, by source code we mean the code we have written. This code cannot be directly understood by the computer, as I have mentioned earlier, the computer only understands zeros and ones. So the compiler take a source code and transforms into machine code, and then we have included libraries. The libraries are then included, and it then forms and the linker include libraries, and then it forms an executable file. This file can be directly run by the computer. The source code cannot be directly run by the computer. That is why we need the compiler. For an executable file, we don't need the compiler. The executable file is made by the compiler. The compiler transforms our code into an executable file which can then be run on a computer. So you will see whenever you run a new file, you will see that it will create an executable file of the same with the same name. So errors are must in programming. You will always find error in your code, and that is okay. You don't need to stress a lot on it. So there are two types of errors. Syntax errors. Syntax errors are errors which are due to the particular syntax of C++. For example, and also another programming language. If I put a capital I here instead of a small I, let me show you this, and then I run the code. You see, it is the compiler is saying that there is an error and you cannot run this code. So yeah, C++ is case sensitive, and this is an example of a syntax error, as I have violated the rules of syntax of C++. And similarly, if you miss a semicolon, it will show error. And similarly, for if you do not follow the syntax at any time in your code, it will throw a syntax error. The other types of errors are the runtime errors. Runtime errors, for example, if you have a syntax error, your code will not run. But for example, if you have a runtime error, your code will run, but it will not give the output that you intended. For example, at some place in your program, you wanted to subtract two variables, but instead you added them. So the code will run, the code will be compiled, but that was not what you meant. So you will get a logical error or a runtime error. So moving on, data types. There are the inbuilt data types in C++ are int, float, double, char, string, and bool. We can also There are also user defined data types in C++. We can define our own data type. But this is a concept of OOP, object oriented programming. But first we will learn about the inbuilt data types in C++. So the first data type, int. Int is short for integer. Integer can be negative, but one thing about int is that it cannot have a fractional part, or integer cannot hold uh, numbers after decimal point. For example, let me show you. Let's declare a variable x. This is how you declare a variable int. I have used int, the which is the keyword for integer data type, and I have defined and I have used a variable name x, and let me put a value 3.14 here, and let's output this value. Simply I am now outputting x, and it will now show me only 3. The point part, the decimal part, was not stored in the variable. It is because it is of the data type int, and it cannot have decimal or fractional part. And there are some general knowledge about the integer is that it takes 4 bytes of memory in our computer, and there is a range of integer. You cannot have infinite integer. The range is between, this is the range of integer. You cannot store value greater than this or lower than this in integer. It will simply overload crash the variable, and any junk value will be stored in that variable. So the next data type is float. Float data type is also used for numbers, but the important part is that it can store fractional parts of the program. And for example, let me show you. I am just replacing integer with float, and the rest of the code is same. I have declared variable x with float data type, and I have stored 3.14, and when I will run the code, you can see that it has outputted 3.14. The fractional part is not lost. It is because it is a 4. Floating point numbers are basically numbers with decimal part. or fractional part. So float provides up to decimal places of precision. You cannot, for example, if you store something beyond six decimal places, it will only take the first six decimal places and will uh, discard the rest of the decimal places. And it also takes 4 bytes of memory. And the range of float is greater than integer. It can have a range of plus minus 10 raised to power 38, which is very large than integer. And the next data type for numbers is double. It is the same as float, but it is the same as float. We can represent double precision floating number. Double precision floating numbers are numbers with having high decimal places. For example, in double, you can store 15 decimal places, and therefore it takes 8 bytes of memory instead of 4, because it can also hold ranges of large values, for example plus minus 10 raised to power 308, which is way large. And let me also show you how to store and declare and store. So I have just changed the keyword float to double, and I am storing 3.14. And let's just increase the decimal places. And so yeah, when we will the rest of when we run the program, so yeah, we can see that it has also outputted the decimal part of the program. So the next type is char. Char is basically short form of character. We can store individual characters, for example, A, B, C. We can also store special characters, for example, at, ampersand, and uh, other special characters you can see on your keyboard. And we can also store alphanumeric characters, punctuation marks, and we can also store white space in character. And it takes only 1 byte of memory. So store, you write the character to be stored inside these single quotation marks. And when I'll will run it, yeah, you can see that it has outputted A. One important thing is that you cannot store more than one character in jar. So let's use a special character this time. Yeah, you can see that it is also similarly. I can use punctuation marks or plus minus any character that you can see on your keyboard. You can use that. Oh, and it takes 1 byte of memory, as I have mentioned earlier. There is another data type string. It was not present in C, the predecessor of C++. The rest of the data type that we have studied were part of C, but string was not. String is a dynamic array of characters. As I have mentioned that you cannot store more than one character in char. So we need. So what do we need for if we have to store more than one character? If we have to store hello world, what do we do? So we use string. String is just a dynamic array of characters. String. The keyword here is string, and let's say x. For string, you use double quotation marks. For characters, you use single quotation marks. For string, you use double quotation marks. And let's add hello world here and semicolon. We won't want to miss that. And here you can see that the whole hello world is outputted. The size in memory of the string depends on the length of the string. The larger the length, the more the memory it takes. However, the size of an empty string is 24 bytes. the when we declare string, the system allots 24 bytes of memory to be used for string operation. There are some string functions and operations that we will learn later on. And the last in-built data type is bool. Bool is used to represent boolean values. And we know that we can there are only two boolean values, zeros and ones, or true or false. So bool we can only store true or false in bool. And the important thing is that when we store true, one is stored, and when we store false, then zero is represent false and one represent true. For example, if I just declare a variable x with boolean variable x, and I'm going to store true here. True is a keyword in C++. And then I run, you will see that the output is not true. The output is 1. Why? Because in the memory, 1 is being stored and 1 is treated as true. And if I change it to false, you can see 0 is outputted because 0 is treated as false in the memory. So bool is used in conditions, and it is also used in lengthy as for example, you need to terminate a loop. We will learn later on how to use bool and where to use bool. It's at first it appears a useless data type, but at time it is very useful. So we have been declaring variables in the VS Code. I just wanted to have some uh, I have some go through on variables. In programming languages, in programming we use variable as a storage location in memory with a name that holds a value. A variable can be of different data type. For example, we declared a variable x of data type int, then float, then double, then char, then string, and then bool at last. So the name of the variable is defined by the user, but there are some rules. We cannot use special characters in variables, and similar we can use underscore, but we cannot use other special characters in naming a variable. And C++, it is necessary to specify the type of data type while declaring. In Python, you can declare a variable, or you can use a variable without specifically defining its data type. But in C++, you need to specifically define the data type of the variable when you are defining your variable. And the values are assigned using the assignment operator. This operator, the sign of equal to, this sign show equality in only in C plus only in math. In C++ or in programming, this is not an equal to. Uh, this is basically an assignment operator. It assigns the values on the right. For example, if I have written int x is equal to 2, it will assign two values, the value 2 to x, which is on the left side. So it is an assignment operator that assign values. It is not equality. You can please don't mistakenly took it for equality. It is only for it is an assignment operator, not an equality. Not an equality operator. Okay. So value of the variable can be changed. Yes, value of the variable can be changed. It can even be changed during runtime, and it can be changed in the during the code as well while you are coding. In So variables are basic. So then about naming the variable, you need to name variable all the variable lowercase. You cannot name a variable. For example, if I am defining a variable int, I cannot use uppercase to define a variable. This is not a syntax problem. This is an you can say this is a convention. This is a coding convention that is to increase and enhance the readability of your code and avoid misinterpretations for other programmers as well. So it is a convention, and programmers strictly follow this convention to name all variables lowercase by using lowercase, not uppercase. For uppercase we use uppercase for constants. For constants are same as variable. The only difference between a constant and a variable in C++ is that we cannot change the value of the constant once we have assigned it. For example, if I have assigned the value, if I for making a variable constant, we use the keyword const. And now I cannot change the value of, and let me also make it uppercase. Now I cannot change the value of pi here. It will show error that you are using constant and now and then changing. So yeah, it has shown me an error. However, if this was a variable, then it wouldn't have caused any problem. Oh, we are using x, y. So yeah, you get errors like this all the time. So yeah, one. Okay, so these were variables and constants, and I hope you have learned that. And now we are moving to arithmetic operators. These are the arithmetic operators in C++. These are addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. We use these in daily life a lot. And then there is a modulus, which basically gives remainder. So for example, I'll show you examples by coding in it in VSCode. And then there are other two operators, arithmetic operators, increment and decrement. Increment and decrement basically adds one to a value stored in a variable, and decrement minus one from a value stored in a variable. Now we are going to use all these variables to for practice. For example, let's define a variable a that is 2, and define another variable b that is 3, and define another variable c. And now I am not assigning any value to this variable c when I am declaring it. Now I am assigning value to c. And what am I assigning? I am assigning b minus a. So you can see that I have used an arithmetic operator, that is subtraction. And to know the value of c, what is being shown at C, I will simply output C. So let's see what is being shown at C. So yeah, 3 minus 2 is 1, and 1 is being stored in C. Similarly, if I change this by plus, this will give me 5. Yes, here you can see 5. And if I change, and if I want to multiply, I will use this asterisk. Usually it is on the 8 on the keyboard. It is on the 8 key. You need to press shift and then press 8. So this will simply multiply these two variables, the value stored in these variable, and then it will the result will be stored in C, and that is 2 multiplied by 3 is 6. And now about the modulus. Let me first we will have let's have an example of division. A by b. Let's change the values so you don't have any confusion. 4 and so 4 divided by 2 is 2. So yes, division is working perfectly fine. I change the values because this is integer. For example, if I take 5 here, 5 divided by 2 is 2.5, but it will not show me 2.5. Why? Because it is integer and it will not store the decimal part of the, it will show me again 2. The point 0.5 part is discarded. Now if I want to know what is the remainder, if I divide 5 5 by 2, and what is the remainder, then I use this sign of modulus. If we divide 5 by 2, the remainder is 1. If we don't divide it completely, this should show me 1. So let's see, will it show me that? So yes, it is showing me 1. Whenever you divide an odd value, whenever you divide an odd value with 2, the modulus will always be 1. And whenever you divide a even value with 2, the modulus will always be 0 because it is divisible. Now 6 is completely divisible and the remainder is 0. And when I will run, I will see that 0 is stored at in C. The remaining two arithmetic operators were increment and decrement, that are uh, plus plus and minus minus. So let's use these two. So let's say c is equal to a plus b. I am just storing a value in c. Now I will see out c here, and I will and so this handle is basically tell the compiler to use the next line when outputting something later on. For example, if I see out, if I see out hello and I do not use and L, you will see that, oh, I think we have a bug here. So yes, we have used CO twice. We cannot use CO twice in the same line. Yes, my mistake. Sorry for that. That was a very big error. So yeah, you can see that 5 plus 3 is 5 plus the value of C is outputted with hello, and they are in the same line. But if I use and L here, you will see that the hello will be now on the next line. Yeah, so this is the use of hello and L. So I'm using and L here to output the value of C here, and then I will increment in C. The this operator increment operator will add 1 to the value of C, and now I will output the value stored in C after the increment, and I will use and L to avoid any confusion while displaying, and then I will decrement the value of C. This will subtract 1 from the value of C, and then I will output the value of C. So you can see that the value stored in C was 8, and when we increment it, when we use the increment operator, it became 9, and then when we again use the decrement operator, it became 8. So plus 1 minus 1. So these were the arithmetic operators used in C++. There are other operators as well, but in the first tutorial video, we are not going in the details of other operators. So these are all the arithmetic operators. One important thing is that in some at some places you see that this sign is used to show raised to power. Like, for example, in if you have ever uh, used MATLAB or any other online mathematical tool, mathematical calculator, you will know that this sign is used for raised to power. For example, you may think that in here C, it means that C is equal to A raised to power 2 A square, that will be C is equal to 36, but this is not the case. This operator is not a raised to power operator in C++. This is a bit. This is one of the bit operators in C++. This is a bit operator in C++, and we are not currently learning about bit operators. But you just need to know that this is not. This cannot be used to represent raised to power for a variable or a number. This will be a logical error.
Now that we have successfully installed our IDE, that is our Visual Studio Code here, and our compiler WinZipW, let me show you some of the extensions of VS Code that will be very handful for us later on. For extensions, you go to this icon and you will see that it is also showing extensions. Just click this, and I have as I have previously installed VS Code, so when I reinstalled it, the extensions were automatically installed. In order, but you won't have these all these installed. Some of the extensions that I want you to install on your VS Code for C++ are, the first one is Code Runner. This is installed. Let me first uninstall this and then install again for your ease. So yes, it's installing. Now it's installed. So what you need to do? You need to click here, File, and then go to Preferences, and then here you will go to Settings. Here you need to type Code Runner and scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, and yeah, here you see that there is a box saying whether to run code in integrated terminal. You need to check this. It is already checked in my case because I have already installed this previously, and now I have not installed. That is why. But you need to check this. It won't be checked in your case, and also check this. It will save your file automatically once you run the program, and also check this. So all check all these three boxes, and what will they do that when you for after installing code runner, you can simply run your code by clicking this run. Otherwise you have to type a command, and that is very, time consuming. So another extension that I need you to install is, yeah, this C and C++, and this C and C++ extension pack. These are for themes and errors and error squiggles, etc. So install these two, and it will be a lot easier for us to uh, work with our code. So after installing this, we are all set to go.